Are you ready to face the halfway point of your story? One of the hardest steps to get right, and yet one of the most powerful, and a moment that can completely make or break your story. Well, don't worry. In this lesson, we're exploring the midpoint and covering what it is, its two main parts, and two secret ways you can use your midpoint to accelerate your story and send it in a whole new, surprising direction. This video is a lesson from a full free mega course on our website. If you're ready to supercharge your storytelling, click the link in the description and start your journey today. This video is also part of a series, so if you haven't watched the previous videos, there are links down below. We've just finished the uphill climb and now it's time for the midpoint. The midpoint is the 8th step of USL and is a moment. However, even though moments usually last only one scene, the midpoint is a special exception that can often last a few scenes. That being said, many midpoints are still one clear scene at one clear location. As the midpoint suggests, it often comes right in the middle of your story. In the last lesson, we mentioned that the midpoint is often an event or a destination. And this could include a party, a dinner, a performance, or a whole new place inside the new situation. There's often an element of both, as the event is usually held at an interesting destination. And the destination often includes some interesting event. For example, in the Lego movie, we mentioned the midpoint happens at the destination of Cloud Cuckoo Land, but it is a gathering of the master builders, which is an event. Where the uphill climb is generally positive and the downhill fall is generally negative, the midpoint is both positive and negative. And to understand this concept, let's explore the two halves of the midpoint. There are two main parts to the midpoint, and they're built around some fundamental ideas of story structure. In circular models, like the hero's journey or the story circle, there is an idea that the hero will travel to something Christopher Vogler calls the inmost cave at the midpoint. This is a dangerous place where the hero will find some treasure, but will need to make a sacrifice for it. And even though this metaphor is directed and designed for quest myths, we found there are similar elements across many midpoints. So we've expanded this concept to be a little more universal. Enter the midpoint prize and the midpoint price. The idea behind them is this. At your midpoint, your protag should find some success, known as the midpoint prize, but either pay a price for it or suffer a relatively equal failure, known as the midpoint price. In our example from Die Hard, protag John manages to contact the police and is told at the midpoint that the police will take it from there. This is a pretty good prize, since John has essentially saved the day. The only problem is, moments earlier, Ante Gruber realized John has his detonators, meaning he won't stop until he finds John. And this, of course, is our price. And in the best cases, the prize and price are linked to the same action. For example, in the Mitchells versus the Machines, this is when the router is destroyed. The prize is that it shuts down all the killer machines in the mall, but the price is that it also stops the upload of the kill code. You can think about it like this. The midpoint should contain both something really good and really bad. It's a bittersweet victory or an optimistic mistake. This helps mark the shift from positive to negative and is the high point before the protag begins their descent. If you have any clear examples of midpoints with a great prize and price, let us know in the comments. On top of showcasing some sort of prize and price, the midpoint can also accomplish two more things. The first is all about the stakes. You'll notice that most of the times, these stakes are raised at the midpoint. In our Die Hard example, it's when Gruber realizes John has his detonators. This raises the stakes since John won't be able to just hide out like the police suggest. He's now going to be hunted down by Gruber and his henchmen. If you're looking for more examples of how to raise the stakes in the midpoint, we have a whole bunch in the extended version of this lesson. The second thing the midpoint can do is shift the goal. It is surprisingly common to have the protag clarify, specify, or completely shift their goal at the midpoint. For example, in Raiders of the Lost Ark, protag Indiana Jones clarifies his goal of finding the Ark to getting the Ark back from the Nazis. In Legally Blonde, protag Elle specifies her goal from doing well at Harvard to winning a specific case. And in Get Out, protag Chris completely shifts his goal from impressing Rose's family to getting out. This can help you add another level to the goal, making it clearer or surprise the audience with a huge twist. So you should now have a good understanding of what the midpoint is, how it contains a prize and a price, and how it can be used to raise the stakes or shift the goal. But if you want to go deeper into the midpoint, The extended version of this lesson covers specific examples of raising the stakes, 3 more ways to use the midpoint, and examines the moment in action with an in-depth example of the 1998 animated musical Mulan. See you there.